Hi guys, I'm Johnny V. Welcome to the youfa channel. Happy birthday, Puff. Have a good year, bro. This is going to be a long one. Put me on in your car. Go about your business. All right? And if you're a young person under 18 or if you're female, you might really be offended because I got a feeling I'm going to get vulgar on this one. Anyone who calls me uncle, turn this off right now. Buckle up. Enjoy the ride. This week's episode, politics. It's a subject I really don't like. That might be news to you because I run my mouth a lot, only because I'm annoyed with how much other people run their mouths about politics. It's the first week of November. We have the midterms coming up. And the race for Senate in Pennsylvania, if everything I hear is true, and who knows if that's the case or not, but if everything I hear is true, this might be the worst two candidates I've ever seen. So this week marks the 2-year anniversary since the Biden-Trump election. And many Republicans are still claiming that the election was stolen. When are these Trump voters going to realize that the good, decent, moral, intelligent, patriotic people in this great nation are simply outnumbered by all you liberal douchebags? Ha ha! Clickbait, bitches! The division in this country is unbelievable. The party divide is unreal. Halloween occurred this week. And the girl down the street, she's a millennial liberal Democrat, was handing out candy. And the poor girl had a heart attack because some kid came to her front door dressed as hard work. Because some kid came to her front door dressed as accountability. Dressed as morality, common sense, responsibility, respect. That joke works on so many levels, with so many punchlines. Oh, people, politics is, I guess, the parenting of society. Parenting isn't easy. The parents are always older than the children. They've experienced more of life. Good parents, anyway, have a better moral compass. They have a better understanding of finances, of accountability, responsibility, morality. What else? What's overall right and wrong, and what's best overall for the common good of the family, the common good of the household. They've been around longer. They've experienced things. They have a better sense of observation. They know more about life in America, about the way it actually is and the way it's supposed to be, than the children. The children, in particular teenagers, they haven't lived on this earth long enough to know anything about anything. But they think they know it all. Because they want to do what's trendy. They want to do what feels good in the moment without any sense of repercussion or the future or morality or accountability or responsibility. They just want to do what their friends are doing. And when they don't get their way, when the parents try to lay down the law for what's best for those kids and what's best for the whole family, the kids throw a temper tantrum. They stomp upstairs, slam their bedroom door, break something, and then write about it on social media. When it comes to politics, and like I said, it's the parenting of society, the conservatives, the Republicans, are the parents. The good conservatives, anyway, are the good parents of society. They know what's better. Most of them are older. They know a little better about the way life is, the way it's supposed to be. All the things I mentioned earlier about parenting. The conservatives and the Republicans are the parents. The liberals, the Democrats, they're the children. They think they know everything. They don't know squat. They have no sense of morality. They have no moral compass, no sense of accountability, reliability, responsibility, and I could go on and on and on. And when the conservatives, the Republicans, try to make a law that's for the common good of society, they try to enforce laws that make perfect sense. The liberals, being the children, they don't stomp up the stairs and slam their bedroom door. They stomp down Broad Street with a sign and slam a rock through some innocent store owner's front window. And then they post about that on Facebook. One of the biggest problems with voters on both sides is that every single person seems to want to vote or does vote for whatever suits their own personal agenda, instead of looking at what's for the overall common good of society. I'll give you an example. I used to drive for a living. I had numerous driving jobs. And one week I set my GPS to back to 0 because it recorded a bunch of statistics. And one of the statistics was stop time. All right? I made a living by moving forward. I wanted to see how much time accumulated in a week as I got stuck at red light after red light after red light, sitting still, doing nothing at a job where I made a living by moving forward. At the end of the week, I had accumulated over 14 hours of stopped time. That's crazy. Now, if a politician came out and said, I'm going to do away with red lights, I'm going to do away with traffic signals, millions of drivers across the country, Uber drivers, taxi drivers, truck drivers, millions of stupid ones would support that idea and think, oh, great, I don't have to stop. They would vote for that guy or that girl. I would not. Because, in spite of how frustrating it is, having no traffic signals would get more people killed every day. That's just an example of what I'm talking about the way people vote. Okay, you like that analogy? Does it make any sense? I hope so. One of the biggest issues with every election, with every candidate everywhere, is taxes. They're all going to lower taxes. And everybody wants lower taxes. So they go for the person who they believe will lower taxes. Now, think about this. Our population rises constantly. Inflation occurs constantly. Laziness increases constantly. Dependence on so many different things that tax dollars pay for increases constantly. The overall cost of all the goods and services that our tax dollars pay for rises constantly. Therefore, no politician, and I'm going to say this without having any statistics in front of me, and you're all going to think I'm an idiot. I'm going to say it anyway. No politician in history has ever, no current politician is ever, and no future politician will ever legitimately lower taxes. You understand? It's not going to happen. Even if you're sitting there saying, oh no, so-and-so did. No, it was a smokescreen. They got rid of something that was probably needed, and they made it look like they lowered taxes. You lost something. We lost something, okay? No one's legitimately lowering taxes ever, you idiots. I'm going to touch on another subject here. It's a subject that I can't stand. And I hope I can speak clearly without losing my mind. I should script this a little more. The woman's A-word issue. You know what I'm talking about. I refuse to say the word. You know, that one about them choosing? Yeah. Use of the word is step one in the propaganda that it's okay. It's not okay. For years, I've been listening to these, or watching and listening to these commercials where they bash the politicians who are against it. And it's always with this woman's soft-spoken voice, and he opposes a woman's right to choose. And they stop after the word choose. It's a psychological ploy to make the public believe that that particular candidate is against women making choices. That candidate is against freedom of choice in general. No, that candidate is against babies getting killed for no legitimate reason. Baby murder. Don't tell me that's my point of view, my perspective, what I think, what I feel. No, it's a deliberate act. Okay? The thing is alive, and through a deliberate act, it is no longer alive. That's murder. Factually, definitively. Not maybe, and not sort of. So don't debate it, you immoral piece of shit. Children see these commercials. I think every pro-choice person in the country should have to explain to a 5-year-old exactly what it is. Right to choose what, Mommy? Right to choose what, Daddy? Right to choose what? Yeah, that's what I want to know. Right to choose what? You should talk about exactly what it is, what's involved, and what actually occurs, and why. Tell a 5-year-old why. And don't even get going on the bullshit. You know, it makes me sick when they talk about these politicians who are against it. They're too extreme. That's another thing, by the way. This year's election, everyone's trying to attack the middle ground voters. This one's too extreme this way. This one's too extreme that way. Anyway, but this, as far as this particular topic, they're using examples about women who've been accosted and raped. I hate that word. It makes me sick, so I'm not going to say it. And they end up pregnant. That accounts for a very small portion of women who have that procedure done every day. Thousands of them get done every day because women just don't feel like taking responsibility for their actions. Okay, so don't use that horrible, heinous crime and those poor women who are victims to suit your own agenda. That makes you an even bigger asshole because you don't give a shit. You just want it available to yourself in case you need it, because it makes you feel empowered. It's fucking pathetic that you would walk down the street carrying a sign, I want the right to murder babies, because it makes me feel empowered. That's the reason. You should hear some of the shit I've heard over the years. One jerk-off said to me, the kid will never know what hit him. You like that? Classy, huh? Fuck you. If you want to stick up for some poor, scared 15-year-old girl who has to make a decision under duress, I sympathize with you and I sympathize with her. And it's a sin. I don't even judge that poor kid for following through. I get it. I judge you assholes that are out there protesting. It's such an ill, noble cause. I could see you being neutral and seeing both sides, but to actually fight for the right to kill a kid this big because you fucking feel like it, you're a piece of shit. Isn't it something how you teach young people responsibility? Do your homework. Take out the trash. I'll give you allowance. Do what's right. Do what's right. A lot of those signs on people's lawns, right? Liberals, the Democrats, the lawn sign that says the time is always right to do what's right. Correct. It's always right to not murder a baby because it suits your fucking agenda. Why is it that people talk a good game on responsibility? You turn 16, you do, my keys. Right? That's sense of responsibility. I stole that from a priest when I was in high school. Thank you, Father LeGrip. I don't even know if you're still around. God bless you. I never forgot that analogy. People teach and preach responsibility and accountability, except when it comes to an unplanned pregnancy. Then it becomes, do whatever you feel like doing. I said in another episode that nobody has the right to transfer the repercussions of their own misfortunes onto someone else. That's exactly what the A word does. It dumps it onto a fetus and ends its life. That kid will never eat an ice cream cone, never watch a cartoon, never be hugged. Now you might think that fetus or that embryo is not real because you never heard it cry and you never held it in your arms, but it is real. It is real. So can your bullshit. Well, who are you to judge, John, if you've never been pregnant? I don't need to be pregnant to know right from wrong. I recently got my Actors magazine. I used to be an actor, and I'm still in the Actors Union, and it was all about politics. And the current president made a comment about the overturning of Skank versus Wade and said it's prejudice against women. Total bullshit, and it shouldn't be in a fucking magazine for a union that I pay dues to. So I just want to be very clear that I would never say that the current president of the Actors Union is a filthy fucking pig. I would never say that. I want it very clear. I will not say that you're a fucking pig. It's unbelievable what was in this magazine. These Hollywood douchebags are so liberal, and to the point that they're just absolutely despicable. I'm going to show you a picture that's in this magazine. It's in this magazine. This woman is holding a sign. Ready? Where do you see this? How about that? Is that not disgusting? Is that not disgusting? It's a very famous actress, okay? She's from a show that was on Thursday nights on NBC many years ago. Vulgarity alert, vulgarity alert, vulgarity alert, vulgarity alert. I can't remember the name of the show. I'm going to make up a name. I'm going to make up a name for it, okay? Let's call it Pinefeld, okay? This is the actress from that show. And I would never say anything derogatory about her. I just believe that she just simply can't understand normal thinking. That's what I think. That's what I think about her. You like that? What? What'd I say? What'd I do? The signs people hold up are despicable. Despicable. Keep your rosaries off my ovaries. There's one on the 400 block on someone's front lawn of North Eagle Road in Havertown, PA. It says the A word, the word that rhymes with contortion. The A word saves lives. I love that argument. I love that argument women use, that it keep it safe and legal for these women. They try to paint a picture, again, the manipulation, the passive aggression. They try to paint a picture that decent, well-behaved women are just going to be walking down the street dropping dead. That's not the case. The only women whose lives will be in jeopardy from an illegal A-word procedure will be the ones that are so adamant about killing their own kid that they would put their own lives at risk. It's disgusting. There's another sign on the 1500 block of Briarwood that says the A-word is healthcare. Is it really? Healthcare is to make the human body function as normally as possible. Okay? Make it function normally. If you have unprotected sex, getting pregnant and having the baby, that is normal body function. Ripping the fetus or the embryo out of the only place that it can survive, that's not healthcare. All right? It's just not. There's also a sign on the 400 block of Olympic. Unbelievable. Signs everywhere. Pro-child, pro-choice. Fuck you, you old pig. Constitutional right, my ass. There's nothing in the Constitution that says murder's okay. All right? And I believe the Bill of Rights says something along the lines of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Or does it say the A word, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? This is supposed to be the land of opportunity. Let me ask you something. How much opportunity is anyone going to have if they can't even get out of their mother's womb safely? You see this? Do you see this? It's a dime. When I evaluate people, I think of this dime, something, a little circle this size at the center of someone's body, the core of their existence, okay? What they are at their core. You may be all happy happy and bubbly and supposedly friendly and generous. You might be a little league coach or a teacher or a Girl Scout troop leader, and you might try to present yourself as a decent human being. Make no mistake about it. If you stand for the destruction of a human life this big, if you are pro-choice, and I hate that phrase, another passive-aggressive phrase, but if you are pro-choice, at your core, you are an evil human being. That's all on this particular topic, the A word. I'm going to do a lot more in January at the around the time of the 50th anniversary of Skank versus Wade, and I'm going to rip you liberal douchebags apart. That's enough for now. Let's move on. So I got another story for you. I went out the other night, went out for a little while, left my door unlocked, closed it, left it unlocked. I came home, there were people in my house, strangers in my house, watching my television. I'm like, what the hell? I said, who the hell are you? I opened the front door and I said, get out, get the hell out. One son of a bitch says to me, shut up, get me a beer. What's that? We start fist fighting right in my living room. There were a bunch of them. Somehow the whole fight spilled out onto the front porch. All my neighbors came out. These guys all ran. I said, man, I have to lock my doors. Obviously, I have to lock my doors, right? And one of my neighbors made a comment like, "Oh, don't say that." Excuse me? I said they were in my house illegally. And the guy said, "No human being's illegal." And the next day, they were all protesting on my front lawn. Yes, I made up that story. It's a metaphor for the immigration issue. Every night, you lock your car doors and your house doors. Why? But that's different. Shut the fuck up and answer the question. Why? Why do you lock your doors? You do it to prevent people you are unfamiliar with from entering illegally. That means without your permission. And whether or not they're nice people or they're looking for a better way of life really is irrelevant. It's irrelevant. There's a process, a legal process. You don't just ignore it. Well, whatever happened to give us your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, etc., etc.? Nothing happened to it. Nothing happened to it. It's still there, etched in the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, where hundreds of thousands of immigrants came to this country legally in an organized, regulated manner. And they proceeded to construct this very civilization in which we live. They didn't come here to fly our airplanes into our fucking buildings. The other night, my friends and I went out. I got another story for you. We went out to dinner. Big group of us. We ate at this real nice restaurant. Steak, lobster, all the good stuff. My friends had drinks. I had a nice big dessert. And when the bill came, I handed it back to the waitress. And I pointed to all the other patrons and I said, they're paying for it. Now, I could have just stayed home and had a sandwich, but no. I decided to go out and eat because I felt entitled to. And then I said everyone else was going to pay for it. Sounds ridiculous, right? That's exactly what you do when you suggest or condone free college education. You're not entitled to something free if A, you're capable of acquiring it on your own, and B, it's not necessary. Now, I had this argument with a friend years ago. And rest her soul, God forgive me. I love her. I loved her. And she was insisting that that's the way to go. Free college education at everyone else's expense. Why should I pay for an education I did not receive? And her argument was, we need to compete. We, meaning America/Americans. And it was a manipulative attempt to exploit my patriotism because she knew I would want to bear some responsibility in regard to our nation competing internationally in all facets of technology and everything else, education. And she was right. I didn't have the words. I didn't know how to articulate my argument at that moment. But the bottom line is, competing internationally was not her main agenda. She simply wanted other people to pay for her kids' college, and that's bullshit. That's bullshit. There's no such thing as free anything. Someone else has to pay for it. And you have no goddamn right. You have a right to ask for it, but you have no right to demand it. You don't have a right to come to this country and demand anything. You don't have the right to go to college and demand that I pay for it. And if you think I sound like a selfish prick, I'm not. So I'll put my money where my mouth is. Politicians, or you Democrats, liberal Democrats who want this free college education, I'll tell you what. I don't know how many of them I'll support, but when I say of them, hear me out. You want free education? Start your own college fund. Start the Joe Smith Scholarship Fund, and I will donate to it via my own decision. You have no goddamned right to instruct me, to demand of me that I give you money for anything. It's my money. I earned it without having gone to college. Who the fuck are you to demand of me that I give my hard-earned money to you or to anyone? You know, the label conservative has always kind of annoyed me. It just, I don't like it, but that's what we've been labeled, and I'll roll with it. I'll deal with it. What really pisses me off is that new label, that new term, progressive. Again, liberals, Democrats want to be called progressive. Now, some people think there's a difference. Basically, there's not. Because they want to be called progressive. And it's, again, passive-aggressive shot at the Republicans, a backhanded implication that conservatives are against progress, human progress. Now, let me ask you something. What is it about the liberal mindset that constitutes any kind of human progress whatsoever? Throughout my life, I have acquired discernment by taking different sides to any issue and looking at the extremes of both sides and seeing where that gets us. So let's take the progressive mindset to extremes, shall we? Just to see what happens. Let's use two separate topics, subtopics. The A-word issue we talked about earlier, and the LBG, TGIF, whatever it is, community. I don't know how we're supposed to label anybody anymore. The gay community, the gay mindset, homosexuality in general. Let's just say for the next 125, 150 years, every single woman on the planet chooses to terminate her pregnancy. Every single one. What if every single person on the planet over the next century and a half, 150 years, is gay? What would happen? We, as human beings, would become extinct. Literally. I know you millennial morons like to throw around the word literally when you don't even know what the fuck it means. And my eyes were on fire. Literally. No, they weren't, moron. Getting off topic. Yeah, humanity would cease to exist if everyone terminated all the pregnancies and we didn't reproduce if we were all gay. Life would cease to exist for all human beings eventually. Now, you might be thinking, well, if nobody terminates a pregnancy, we'll be overpopulated. Bullshit. Number one, we're already overpopulated. Number two, most people who get pregnant eventually stop having kids. And the ones who terminate have kids later anyway. So if they wouldn't have terminated that pregnancy earlier, chances are they would have had the child and then not had one later in life. So the legalization of that despicable procedure really doesn't have much bearing on the population. Think about what I said. If everybody was gay or every pregnancy was terminated, there would be no human beings left on the planet. I know what you're thinking. Typical conservative Republican, doesn't understand us, doesn't know how we think, how we feel. I do know how you think. I do know how you feel. I do understand the whole mindset of the modern day Democrat, the modern day liberal, the modern day progressive. It's really only a few elements, maybe 4 or 5 elements, all wrapped up in one, okay? Basically, it's no accountability, men suck, straight people suck, white people suck, give me free stuff. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. It's not that hard to understand. I've tried to avoid the issue of politics over and over and over again. I can't tell you how many Democrats initiate a confrontation, take a shot at Trump, something like that, and then you try to respond and they go, oh, I don't want to talk about politics. Oh, really? Suddenly you don't want to talk about politics? 30 seconds ago you did. So you could take a shot at me and what I stand for, and now you don't want me to be able to say anything. Really? How about that? Wow. That's so rare. That's so unusual. They're always the ones that initiate confrontation. Always. They want to take those shots while they can. They want to start and end the conversation on their terms because it makes them feel empowered. That's always their goal, to feel empowered. They never want to do the work to actually be empowered, but they love to feel empowered. And God forbid you want to continue the conversation and say a few words before the conversation's over. They have the balls to accuse you of doing what they just tried. They're always the ones that are the most mouthy, the most vocal. They cause the most disruptions. Every time you turn around, they're making a backhanded comment on camera, on TV, celebrities, talk shows. One jerk off on a talk show was talking about punching Trump in the mouth, and the bitches on the show were fucking clapping like fucking seals. Oh, 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 oh. Right? Happens every chance they get. Every time you turn around, parties, somebody has to say something, they take shots at you, they take shots at what you stand for. They go to the rallies, they would go to the Trump rallies, the Republican rallies, and they would raise all kinds of hell, and then the liberal news media would say, oh, see what happens? All the violence at these rallies. It wasn't the Republican people. It was the Democrats who went there specifically to disrupt them. The reason you never heard about that happening at the Democratic rallies was because none of us went there. A, we didn't want to disrupt the thing, and B, we really didn't want to hear one fucking word come out of the candidate's mouth. The modern day Democratic Party is not the party of our fathers and forefathers. It's a party of lawlessness, carelessness, laziness, immorality, godlessness, lack of patriotism. One of those elements in particular was evident when our vice president, made a comment, and I'm paraphrasing, Joe and I support what's going on in America today, in reference to what was happening when city after city after city were burning down due to riots. That is what liberals and Democrats nowadays stand for. That's who you voted for. But don't worry, folks. Your boy and your girl, they're going to fix everything. You're just trying to change my mind and force me to think your way. No. I don't have the ability to do that. I was not trained medically. I don't have a medical background. Okay, I'm not a surgeon. Because helping you or teaching you to think my way would require me to actually extract your head from your ass. You jerk-offs have actually made me ignorant. I used to go to a voting booth and try to remember who said what, and I stayed there for half an hour trying to figure out who to vote for. Your bullshit over the last 20 years, maybe less, has made it real easy for me to just go in there and pull the Republican lever. It's easy now. It's easy. I voted for Trump. I'm going to continue to vote for Republicans until you guys show me something different. And there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it. Johnny V here, soon to be the most hated man in America, for telling it like it is. Get out there and vote. But before you vote, go fuck yourself and have a great day.